Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm Binish Nawaz Khan, Senior Associate Psychologist and Student Counselor at FRPNC. Our lecture is about emotions, where we will be learning about different emotions and their impact on our mental health and physical health. So, here we will be starting with the definition of emotion. The word emotion derived from the Latin word in 1579, which means excite. Emotions can be defined as a complex pattern of changes, including physiological arousal, feelings, cognitive process, and behavioral reactions made in response to a situation perceived to be personally significant. So, a state of feeling that has cognitive, physiological, and behavioral changes is known as emotion. So, from the definition of emotion, we concluded that there are four components of emotion, such as cognitive reactions, which refers to a person's memory, thinking, and perception of an event. Then the physiological reactions are primarily caused by changes in the hormonal levels in the body. On the other hand, behavioral reactions involve the active expression of the emotions, and lastly, the affect includes the positive and negative state of the emotion and is what makes an emotion a conscious and subjective experience. So now coming towards types of emotions. There are basically two types of emotions. The first one is primary emotion. The primary human emotions are the one triggered in response to an event. They are considered to be universal and biologically based. Also, they are the body's first response and they are usually very easy to identify as they are so prominent. There are basically six primary emotions such as anger, disgust, fear, happiness, sadness, and surprise. So the second type of emotion is the secondary emotion, which is a complex form of emotions. For example, if we experience fear, the secondary emotions will be fear, threatened, or feeling anger, depending on the situation we are experiencing. Basically, secondary emotions develop with cognitive maturity and vary across individuals and cultures. So, researchers suggest that children's emotions are not as natural and long standing as those of adults. Their emotions are characterized by sudden and intense outbursts, are transitory, more frequent, and are easily expressed. So, the emotions are divided into two categories, that is, positive emotions and negative emotions. The positive emotion that leads one to feel good about oneself will eventually lead to an emotionally happy and satisfied, whereas the negative emotions decreases your energy and undermine your effectiveness. In the negative emotional state, you find the lack of desire to do anything. Now the question is, are negative emotions necessary? Although they are not pleasant to experience, but negative emotions are necessary for a healthy life. This is true for two big reasons. One, negative emotions give us a counterpoint to positive emotions. Without the negative emotions, will the positive emotions still feel good? I guess so, no. Secondly, negative emotions serves evolutionary purpose, encouraging us to act in a way that boosts our chances to survive and help us to grow and develop as people. Emotions affect our health positively or negatively depending on the type of emotions we are frequently experiencing. The person charged with more positive emotion enjoy better physical and mental health, than the person with negative emotions. Negative emotions are linked with many physical illness like peptic ulcer, migraine, chronic constipation, heart diseases, and skin problems. Negative emotions suppresses immunity and results late recovery of operative wound and frequently gets cold. In case of autoimmune disease like cirrhosis, arthritis, and many more, negative emotion is associated with hyperimmune response. Person with negative emotion is less likely to involve in healthy behavior like exercise, healthy eating, adequate sleep, taking health services. Similarly, more likely to indulge in drinking, smoking, using illicit drugs, and do emotional eating. Positive emotions like love, positive self thinking, amusement, laughter, joy, and happiness are directly related in maintaining our good physical and mental health. It helps magically in regaining health after illness. There is always a good reason for each of basic emotion, both positive and negative. For example, anger helps to fight against problems, fear helps to protect us from danger, surprise helps to focus on new situations, joy will remind us what's important in our life, sadness will help to connect us with those we love and make strong bonding. Also, trust will help to connect with people who help. Then disgust will make us to reject what is unhealthy. Emotions are aroused by stimulus. The stimulus is found in environment. So if the environment is better, the individual will be more emotionally balanced. Every emotion is followed by physiological change such as rapid heartbeat, change in pulse rate, change in blood pressure, and change in facial expression, voice and body movements. Emotion is accompanied by a feeling of pleasantness and unpleasantness following physiological changes. Emotions are subjective and purely individual. The same situation may provoke different emotions in different individuals. An emotion mostly rises when the individual faces a difficult situation or when the basic need is challenged or not satisfied, which we have discussed in our previous lecture, Maslow hierarchy of needs. In fact, a situation, real or imaginary, is always connected with an emotion. So the question is how to take control of your emotions or take measure to control yours and other emotions around you. First, you should control your emotions by understanding yourself, your conflicts, and your physical and emotional limits. Learn as much as you can about your physical reaction to emotions. Plan work to avoid emergencies, know steps to control your stress, balance your work life and personal life, be creative, manage your tasks, exercise, and do social activities. Also, you can practice relaxation and meditation. You can go on nature walk, explore your surrounding to release your stress, do your hobbies. You can use a sense of humor. Try to control unreasonable and excessive external expression of emotions because they tend to increase the intensity of emotional experiences of an individual. A desirable philosophy of life will enable you to avoid mental conflicts and emotional tension. Now, coming towards the control of emotions within others. Firstly, remember the importance of tone of the voice and body language. It leaves a long lasting mark on others. Create welcome and ease atmosphere for others, giving full attention and hiding negative feelings if you have due to any reason. Understand their negative emotions. Remember, they are less self controllers, tense, irritable, and unbalanced. So try to show patience, maturity, and balanced behavior. Promote positive feelings. For example, if we have to deal with patients negative emotions, we need to substitute it by positive thoughts by encouraging them and giving hope. You can eliminate anger, fear, worry, tension, and anxiety by establishing healthy interpersonal relationships. For that, you need to develop empathy, as it will be helpful and can be developed through understanding and accepting the patient or a person as an individual. Emotional intelligence is an ability to perceive, control, and evaluate emotions. Salovey and Meyer propose a model that identifies four different factors of emotional intelligence. So, Salovey and Meyer identified four factors of emotional intelligence. The first factor is perceiving emotions, where the first step in understanding emotion is to accurately perceive them. In many cases, this might involve understanding nonverbal signals such as body language and facial expressions. The second factor is reasoning with emotions. The next step involves using emotions to promote thinking and cognitive activity. Emotions help prioritize what we pay attention and to respond emotionally to things that gather our attention. The third factor is understanding emotions. The emotions that we perceive can carry a wide variety of meanings. If someone is expressing angry emotions, the observer must interpret the cause of their anger and what it might mean. The fourth factor is managing emotion, and it is the ability to manage emotions effectively is a key part of emotional intelligence. Regulating emotions, responding appropriately, and responding to the emotions of others are all important aspects of emotional intelligence. So the emotions involve the entire nervous system, of course, but there are two parts of nervous system that are significantly involved, such as limbic system and autonomic nervous system. The limbic system is a complex set of structures that lies on both sides of the thalamus, just under the cerebrum. It includes hypothalamus, hippocampus, amygdala, and several other nearby areas. It is primarily responsible for our emotional life and has a lot to do with the formation of memories. Being the part of limbic system, hypothalamus is the busiest part of the brain that regulates your hunger, thirst, response to pain, level of pleasure, sexual satisfaction, anger, your aggressive behavior, and controls other emotions as well. It also regulates the functioning of autonomic nervous system, which mean it regulates things like your pulse rate, blood pressure, breathing, arousal in response to emotional circumstances. On the other hand, hippocampus is responsible for your long-term and short-term memories. Now, coming towards amygdala, it helps coordinate responses to things in your environment, especially those that triggers an emotional response. This structure plays an important role in fear and anger, also responsible in assessing threat. If any damage occurs to this part, it will result in abnormality to process fear. This is why some people with brain damage affecting their amygdala don't always respond appropriately to dangerous scenarios. Now, the left prefrontal cortex is involved in motivation to approach others. Any damage to this area will result in loss of joy. On the other hand, right prefrontal cortex involved in withdrawal and escape. Any damage to this area will result in excessive mania and euphoria. Your hormones play a major role, including how you feel emotionally and mentally. Hormones are basically produced by specialized cells that regulates nearly every biological process in the body. Hormones are chemical in nature that carry messages from brain to other organs of the body. controlling the function and the health of these organs. It controls basic human functions such as eating and sleeping to complex functions such as sexual desires and reproduction. Hormones are manufactured by glands in the endocrine system. It consists of several glands, each of which has a specific focus. For example, pituitary gland, which releases hormones for growth. The pancreas gland produces insulin to control blood sugar level. The ovaries and testes are glands that releases female and male sexual. Now the question is, how does your body make you feel an emotion? Suppose that you see your favorite ice cream parlor. Now how does your brain know that you like that particular ice cream shop? Because the brain has a memory segment that correlates your previous experiences to the present visual data being received by your eyes. So, in order to experience this happiness, your brain releases endorphins. These are feel good chemicals that signify general well being and happiness. Apart from all of these, there are some specific hormones that greatly affect human emotions, like epinephrine and norepinephrine. Almost all extreme emotions are caused by these two hormones. You may have heard the term adrenaline rush, which is caused by adrenaline, also called as epinephrine. Epinephrine and norepinephrine are stress fighter hormones. Some other hormones like estrogen that keep a positive mood, then progesterone helps in relaxing and known as calming hormone. Dopamine is associated with motivation and reward. Then serotonin, which is known as happy hormone. Oxytocin inhibits brain areas associated with behavioral control of fear and anxiety and protects against stress, and also responsible in increasing trust, empathy and formation of bonding. There are some factors that influence our expression of different emotions such as age, your gender role, culture norms, which dictates the types and frequencies of emotional displays considered acceptable within a certain culture. The cultural norms may also guide how people choose to regulate their emotions, ultimately influence an individual's emotional experience and leading to general culture differences in experience and display of emotion. For example, research shows that individuals from US are more likely to express negative emotions such as fear, anger, and disgust, both alone and in presence of others. Furthermore, individuals from our culture that tend to emphasize on social cohesion are more likely to suppress their own emotional reactions. Also, there are some researches that men and women may differ in regulation and expression of their emotions, perhaps due to the culture norms and gender roles. As your culture, society, and the environment in which you live demand and expects you to express your emotions accordingly.